It was the best-selling vehicle by volume for 2023 and 2024. We are talking about the Tesla Model Y. Hi, this is Joe from Scarff Ford, and today we're talking about this 2023 Tesla Y long-range all-wheel drive. Let's dive in. I'm a big fan of Tesla products. I've bought and sold hundreds of them over the last few years, and the Tesla Y is amazing. When I first got my hands on a Tesla Y right around 2020, I could easily see that it could potentially become the best-selling vehicle in the world, and it certainly did. So all those people who are naysayers, well, I'm waiting for EV technology to get to a certain point before I buy one, or I'm waiting for the battery technology to get better before I buy one of those EVs. Well, I think it's there. For an EV to become the best-selling vehicle in the world for 2023 and 2024, I think it says a lot. You know, obviously millions of people think that the technology is there, and it certainly is. Maybe you have a gallon-sized bladder and you can drive 500 miles without stopping. Most people want to take a break. You have amazing DC fast charging. The real ace in the hole of Tesla is their supercharging network. We hit this lightning bolt right here, and this shows you all the superchargers. And you can see within 10 miles of us, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Amazing. You just hit which one you want to go to, and it will navigate you there. And it will also preheat the battery for faster charging. So it's always good to navigate to a supercharger, even if you know where it is. See, right now it's preconditioning the battery for faster charging. Really important, especially in cold sub-zero weathers. Batteries, when they're cold, the chemical reaction in them that releases electrons or releases electricity slows down a lot. So you have to warm up the battery. And it's also good to precondition the battery before you go. You have the amazing Tesla app. So all you can do is you just open your app when you're getting ready to leave the house. Like I do it 10 minutes before I go. I put the climate control on, or if it's really cold, I can defrost the vehicle remotely, and that won't only just warm up the vehicle for me, but it will also warm up the battery so the vehicle will drive more efficiently when you get that in there and go. It makes a big difference. And you can also do scheduled departures. So if you leave the same time, you know, if you leave at 6 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Friday, you can set it up in the Tesla so it'll just start warming up, getting ready for you. You don't even have to tell it to. You can just program the Tesla to do that, and it'll preheat the battery, warm up the car, so when you're ready to go to work or wherever, it's all set for you. And you can also do planned departures. The level of technology in these things is pretty amazing. It's basically like a computer or smartphone on wheels. It really is so much different than a conventional gas car. I'm a career car guy. I've been in the car business for 30 years. I love gas cars, but after experiencing EVs, I think they definitely have a place in our world, and I think eventually they're probably going to take over, and then gas cars will be kind of more for enthusiasts. Obviously, you can get like an Apple Watch, or you can get a Rolex. Obviously, the Apple Watch can do a lot more than the Rolex can, but there is something special about having that mechanical mastery of a Rolex, and that goes the same for like an amazing like Mustang 5-liter V8, a manual transmission. It's not necessarily practical, but it's fun. But for everyday driving and commuting, maintenance costs, things like that, EVs, Teslas really have a special place, and I think more people are waking up to it because we see more and more EVs, more and more Teslas on the road every day. We can see we have a clean sheet design on the interior, and that is by design. There's not very many hard buttons and knobs, and that's another thing that people have a hard time with. They're like, I like hard buttons and knobs to press. Well, guess what? Those hard buttons and knobs are there forever. The screen is infinitely reconfigurable. Even though my Tesla's a 2019, it looks very similar to this screen. It doesn't have a faster processor and all that stuff, but with over their updates, my Tesla has stayed relevant. It's improved, it's gotten features, it's gotten updates to make it safer, to make it better over the years. This is one of the few vehicles that gets better with age. It's kind of like your smartphone. You get a big iOS update for your Apple phone, and you might have new features, you might have a new display. Same goes with Tesla. So the majority of the functionality is in the screen, and it's really not that hard. It's like using an iPad. The Tesla engineers designed this user interface like it's like Apple-esque. It's really, you know, you'll get the hang of it in no time. And you can also do voice commands. There's 140 different voice commands, so you don't even need to take your eyes off the road to do a lot of stuff. For instance, wipers on. Wipers off. Rear defroster on. Make it warmer. Every time I say make it warmer, it will increase the temperature by a couple degrees, or it can be make it cooler. Make it cooler. Likewise, it'll keep on lowering the temperature. Really cool stuff. So digging a little bit more into the software screen, we can see here that we have the information of the vehicle. It's a long-range dual motor. You have a fully charged range of right around 300 miles, give or take, depending on temperature and state of charge, things like that. 24,698 miles. This has a full self-driving computer 3. FSD is not included on this one. It's $99 a month or $8,000. I have FSD in my car. It's fantastic. I think if you get ownership transfer, they'll give you like a 1-month trial for FSD. And even for $99 a month, it's well worth it if you drive a lot. It's really gotten very good. It's not to the point where you have to pay attention, but you don't even have to put your hands on the wheel anymore. It really does amazing stuff. I get in my car, I put in my work, I have my hands on my lap, and it gets on the highway, it changes lanes, gets off the off-ramp, makes left and right-hand turns. It does it all, and I just sit there, and it is amazing, and it continues to get better with over-the-air updates. But even if you don't want to use full self-driving, we have Autopilot, which is like a traffic-aware cruise control, which allows the vehicle to brake and accelerate and steer in its own lane. Fantastic on the highway. I kind of call it like full self-driving light. It's not going to stop for stop signs, but will move with the flow of traffic all the way to a complete stop. Pretty amazing. This one has an extra feature called the Acceleration Boost Upgrade. Normally that's a $2,000 in-app purchase where you buy it and you get a software update and it releases about 100 horsepower. So you get another 100 horsepower and it takes a 0 to 60 down to 4.2 seconds. That's sports car territory. This is like a sleeper sports car. You're going to put a lot of purpose-built sports cars to shame. There'll be some sad people in their Challengers and Mustangs when they're getting smoked by an electric crossover SUV shaped like a wedge. I like the way it looks, but it is kind of a wedge shape. But yeah, this thing is an absolute hoot to drive. And with electric motors, they make their power instantly. Instant power and torque. There's no transmission shift shock. It's instantaneous thrust. It is quite an exhilarating driving experience. It's a lot of fun. So normally that acceleration boost upgrade is $2,000, but that was already purchased and that will stay with the vehicle. So if we transfer ownership, it will be transferred to you. It stays with the vehicle. Pretty cool stuff. So we have the amazing Google Maps. You can also have illustrated versions with premium connectivity that get you those live traffic updates, Google Maps. And you can also stream music with the premium connectivity. You can stream music, you can stream videos. You can't watch videos while you're driving, but great while you're supercharging or parked. Maybe your spouse is in the store shopping, you're waiting outside. Fantastic stuff. You can also play video games with your over-the-air update. They're constantly adding games. Then we have the toy box, which has cool stuff like the whoopee cushion and colorizer. The boom box, you can play music through the horn. Like if you're at a picnic and stuff, you can play music, or you can change the sound of the horn to like a fart or a goat or like a la cucaracha. Pretty funny stuff. You have a multi-track recorder. Some of the stuff is kind of like silly parlor tricks. Some of the stuff is actually really functional and helpful. You have an amazing climate control system. It's, like I said, it's like using an iPad. And then we have biodefense mode. This is pretty amazing. So when biodefense mode is on, it basically pressurizes the air in the cabin. I'll shut it off now because it's loud. But what it's doing, it's pressurizing the cabin, so the only way that air can come in is through this giant HEPA filter in the front of the vehicle. This HEPA filter is like the size of the HEPA filter in your house. It's much bigger than any other car's HVAC system filter. It's amazing. And it filters out pollutants and stuff like that. Like for instance, people in California during the forest fires, they're getting refuge inside their Teslas with this biodefense mode because it was cleaning that smoky air and making it safer and breathable. It's not a gimmick, it really works. It is amazing. Nice big glass roof panel, lots of natural light inside. You can get sunshades to insert in place when it gets too bright out in the sunny weather. Nice color combination on blue on black. I love the minimalist look of the Model Y. It follows the same design scheme as the Model 3, which it shares a lot of components with. Since we don't have an engine up here, we have a frunk, which is more storage space. It's also a safety feature. You have all this space to absorb crush energy in a frontal collision. You have a crumple zone that's 60% larger than a gas car. That's why the Model Y is actually one of the safest vehicles on the road, one of the safest crossover SUVs. Don't take my word for it. Look at some NHTSA crash testing, independent crash testing even in Europe, and it gets high marks. I have that front seat adjusted for my height. You can still see I have a ton of legroom, ton of headroom back here. Since we don't have drive shafts, gas tanks, exhaust systems going through the center of the vehicle, it allows for a lot more space than a comparable size compact crossover. It is really, really spacious and very, very comfortable. Going towards the rear, we have a nice power rear lift gate. We have a cargo area cover, which is removable. You can fold the seats down. There's actually a camp mode with this thing, which is awesome. You can fold the seats down and camp in it if you want. And since it's an EV, we have more space down here. No gas tank, no exhaust system, so you have more storage under there, and you have another storage compartment in there. Storage galore. So of dual motors, it makes it all-wheel drive, so it's great in wet, slippery weather. With the way the battery is so low, it has an extremely low center of gravity, so it's very hard to roll over. And that is one reason why it's so safe. You have active and you have passive safety features with Teslas. You know, active and passive safety features, like for instance, like the Autopilot is a safety feature. Even when it's not on, you have, you know, collision avoidance, lane departure warning, lane departure prevention, you know, pedestrian detection, all great safety features. And then when you get in an actual accident, the way the vehicle is constructed also makes it really safe. So there's many layers of safety with a Tesla. The battery, being so low to the ground, makes it very low rollover risk, but it also makes it handle like a sports car because it's an extremely low center of gravity. Usually with a gas car, the gas tank's sitting a lot higher in the vehicle. The engine's also a lot higher, so it makes it a little bit more, or a lot more top heavy, making them easier to roll over and more tippy and wallowy in the corners. Not so much with this thing, it's just completely flat in the corners, a lot of fun to drive. I could literally go on and on about these things, but obviously we don't have enough time to do that. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.